pro shop's looking great. They're getting some extra inventory, I believe, from Kingswood being closed down, the pro shop there. So everything's looking really good. They did get some new nets and balls over there, so they can people could practice
Good.
over there. So yeah, all in all,
Good.
good.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
I have the country club, and kind of the same thing. I think there's still some patchy areas. Greens seem to be rolling pretty well. Need the grass to grow. And the pro shop, golf shop is really nice. I think it's one of the best facilities we have. And the cart staff is real friendly. Talk to you, it's good.
Okay. Jerry?
I've got Scottsdale. Overall, the course looks like it's, everything's in pretty good shape. Scottsdale, the course is in pretty good shape. We've got a few fairways that are really in bad shape. I mean, as far as the filling in, and I know Graham's going to address some of that. So, but number 16 is the one that comes to mind. 16 and 17 both are really pretty bare out there. I don't know whether, and you may address this also. It may be a suggestion of mine that we just cut any carts off on those until we get that filled back in, figure out what we're going to do with them for sure. And it may be that way on several of the courses, if you've got fairways that are that way, just go to carts on path on that particular hole till we get it filled in, I guess. The range at Scottsdale is the hitting areas are pretty rough shape right now. Again, there's no grass. There's not much grass there anyway, I know. And I would like us to consider at some time is just building pads up there, not anything but just dirt and fill dirt or whatever, and just build it up a little bit and get us some dirt there where we might be able to get some grass growing there. We can reconfigure a little bit there, make a pretty good area, because if we're doing maintenance somewhere else that we have a range, which is Highlands, that's the only place we have to go hit at this point. The other thing about that is if you're not playing that day, you don't have a cart. And I know I don't disagree with what we're doing there as far as the hand carts, but if you've ever climbed that hill, lugging your bag up and down that hill, it is tough. I don't know whether we might be able to shuttle people down that are doing that. Maybe not. I don't know. Something like that. And I'm pretty fit, and it really got to me. So.
No, I'm with you. Staffing's the issue.
Right.
I don't have enough staff to sit there and cart them up and down.
Yeah.
And the fleet of carts is our smallest is Scottsdale because of the cart bar.
Right.
The mats issue, we looked at the mats going down there and putting the mats down. One, floods is an issue like we just had. We would have lost it. And if anybody's tried to pick up a mat that's got any type of moisture in it, it's about 100 pounds.
Right.
And I can't ask my staff to drag them in and out every day. So ultimately, maybe a future plan is to put some concrete down there and make it a proper standing alone range, and we'll go from there.
Well, the concrete doesn't, I mean, it's if we can just make build it up a little bit, because it's all just sand, really. I mean, so much sand there, and there's a little grass, but not much. If we could somewhere down the line figure out how to make that a little nicer down in there, because it's a good facility. It's a really good facility for your short game, and we're limited space on the rest of the hitting areas out there, but that's a pretty nice facility right there. And so I wish we'd look at that. And this may be at a later date too on our. Well, I'll just wait on this one, on the rest of it, because we'll be talking about that. But everything good. The staff over there is great. I mean, they just their smiles and having a good time, and they like to see people coming. So, thank you.
Well, I spoke to Alex today. I haven't really been out to Highlands that much, but with the since I'm a tenured reporter, the range. They're keeping up with the balls. I think they're doing the best they can. They got a lot of traffic out there. The mats versus the grass, I think they're trying to keep the grass healthy, and that's been a little bit of a challenge. And he did mention that they're building a temporary like driving tee box to accommodate for fitting clubs, to teaching lessons, so you get a little more privacy for the person that's doing that. That's about it. Thank you.
Okay, Kingswood, Burksdale, like everywhere else, the grass needs to grow. We had a lot of water yesterday, we're closed. We got some standing water on some of the holes, which is typical, and you know, it's spring in Bella Vista, not much you can do about it. Pro shop area, obviously it's just a temporary situation there until we get the new area open up, so they're doing the best they can. It's always neat, clean, they're friendly, and the overall experience is still worth having, so it's awesome.
All right, if you guys want to follow along, I did a report for this this meeting, and I'll continue doing that moving forward. Certainly seeing Tom. We're certainly seeing a fair amount of winter damage, cold weather damage to the Bermuda grass on all golf courses. Some worse than others. Okay. You know, if you scroll down just a little bit, you kind of see, I think this is kind of when it happened in January 2024. We had a stretch where we had negative temperatures, lows, 3 nights in a row, single-digit lows around it. Warmed up just a little bit on that Thursday and probably had some snow melt, and then it refroze with single-digit lows on the 19th and 20th. So that's kind of what we're seeing. We're seeing some water pattern where snow would have melted and then refroze in some areas in the lows, kind of in the trail of drainage water. So I think that's what we're seeing when it happened. I know Greg did some covering of some tees and some other areas that had traditionally died every winter, and those areas have done really well. He covered those with a tarp material. That's not really feasible to do course wide, for one, from a labor standpoint, and then two is the material itself. But it is something we found some success with. Here's a picture of Scottsdale's greens during that time period, double covered with snow cover. Someone went out there and did a snow angel, and you can see the perfect pattern as spring transitions. So you can kind of see when you're getting some sort of traffic on top of all this cold weather during these periods of time where it's really cold. That's kind of, we can almost pinpoint exactly when this stuff's happening, you know, and this is a great example of that. So kind of going into the next area or the next picture, we're just seeing all these worn out areas. Cart traffic during the winter time is certainly causing a lot of slow recovering Bermuda grass this time of year. We're seeing it course wide, and speaking with Daryl and the superintendents, really just trying to find a way. Do you guys have a way that, or any ideas where we can potentially, limit this sort of thing every spring? So that would mean something during the winter times. Maybe we're, committing to staying on the paths, especially around these really cold, periods of time. Or is there any ideas that you guys want to go back and with your groups and talk about and see if we can get any sort of commitment from a membership level? Is that something that we can maybe do for next meeting?
We tried a couple of years ago, Graham, to institute what we call the Champions Program, and it was my idea, and also I'll fall on the sword. I thought it was going to be well received by the public, but it wasn't. We only had maybe 20 guys show up or sign up. And what we discovered was from group leaders, they were saying it was impractical because if you had one guy that was in the Champions Club and another one that wasn't, how do they pair them together? Who gets to stay on the cart path? Who, or gets to go out on the course? So that didn't work, right? And so I agree with you. We've got to come up with some sort of a plan so that we don't go through this every spring. And I'm certainly one of those that'd be totally willing to stay on the cart path all winter, but I know I'm in the minority, and I get that. I know most of the membership would scream and howl about staying on the cart paths. There are a lot of guys that wouldn't even play golf in the wintertime if they had to stay on a cart path, and they would probably want a reduction in their membership fees. Well, that's just the reality of it. I mean, it just is. So I don't know how to fix it because, again, I mean, the smart thing to do would be to stay on the cart path all winter. That would be the best solution, but I don't know that it's feasible.
So knowing that, we have, damage, I'm not saying every bit of that is cart traffic. We know that some of that could have been, thaw and then refreezing and this sort of thing, but we can certainly pinpoint that the cart traffic certainly adds to and causes some damage. So is it, would you guys rather just have to kind of deal with this and then the turnaround to get back to good conditioning in summer, maybe 2 to 3 months? Is that where, I guess maybe it's with talking with the group or with everyone's groups, maybe that's the conversation to have. Hey, if we don't do this, we know we're going to deal with this year over year, kind of like what you just said.
Let me ask you a question. Would it help if we mandated that you have to stay off the fairway, but we could drive in the rough? Maybe on either side of the fairway? Because I can't think of anything else that would make sense to the membership.
What if we picked 1 or 2 golf courses and made those no cart path at all, no carts at all? But for, we still have the other courses, so people that are using a blue flag, they can still play at the other golf courses, but we could kind of experiment, and we can kind of at the end of winter we can demonstrate. Look at the course conditions at these 2 golf courses, and look at the course conditions at the other ones. We have clear evidence that keeping people on the cart paths during the winter works.
So I want to jump in. I've been around a little bit. We have tried the cart path only on all the golf courses way back when I started 14 years ago, and we had the value card back then. We had everybody up in arms. We went off that. What Tom's talking about, we've thrown around a little bit. I would like, from Graham's point, to challenge you all, go visit and see what it comes up with. It's talk about 2 golf courses, 3 golf courses. It'd be a nightmare on our side and golf ops, but we can schedule it where we have shotguns with groups on 2 of the 18-hole golf courses for periods. Just so you all know, this year was the most we've had carts on pass. We added another 2 weeks on the sides to make it, and it didn't work. So we've tried things every year different to see where we could go to help out, but it's really hurt us quite a bit. So challenges you guys to talk and see and do some research.
How do we account for the damage on the Scottsdale course? Because it was closed down, January, February? But it still had quite a bit of damage, so.
Right, I think I was looking at that with Kyle this afternoon. I think that's probably seems to be a moisture issue, if I had to guess. Yeah, kind of where the moisture all kind of went down to seems to be where the damage is on that course.
Is there any way to mitigate that in the future, or is that just something that's gonna happen?
Well, we can certainly do some things. I'll as we go forward in my report, I'll talk about a couple of things I'd like to try. So,
Graham, before you get into that, if we're going to do what Tom and Daryl have suggested to close down a course or 2 and all winter, like Highlands, you can never go off the path. What are the courses that you would target that maybe get the most damage in the wintertime that would be the most helpful to stay on path?
This year, I would say the Highlands has significantly, by far, the most damage that I've personally seen. Again, I don't have any history, so I don't know year over year. Talking with Daryl, it sounds like, there's a few holes on the Highlands that are typically an issue. Some of that could be where it sits and in more of an environmental issue than anything else.
And Country Club would be the right. Highlands, I live out there, it's cold. The front 9, temperature's cold, ground temperature's cold, doesn't see the sun much, and winter really hurts. And then Country Club, in my personal opinion, Graham and I were talking, right, that's why we walked in 5 minutes before the meeting, we were talking about this. What can we do to make this place better? And those will be the two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we looking at a situation that it would have to be the same 2 courses every year? Because if you did it by year, are we gaining enough to rotate 2 more in, or are we gonna lose what we gained if we bring them back on the fairway the next winter?
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of times with the traffic piece, it's when the traffic is happening, as evidenced by that
Right.
snow angel. So I think, you know, at some point, if you got back on it, you could easily see damage from that if you were to stay cart path only one winter and then go back the next.
So if we went 2 or 3 years, it would show a significant difference to show people that this is really what can happen.
I think so.
And maybe
Absolutely.
encourage them to stay off all the courses for a
think
couple of
so.
years to gain, but to keep the same courses for a while.
Yeah, maybe that could be a great selling point if we could show them that.
I don't think we make any decisions today. We have
No,
a lot
no.
of time.
Right.
But we want to make sure that we give the community ample time to comment and be aware of this. But this is not a grounds maintenance issue. This is a play issue. This is, you know, there's things that he cannot control, you know, and so when carts go off path, you can't control that. So this is a play issue. This is a community issue. And if the community is willing to come together and say, look, let's give it a try. Let's do 2 golf courses. These 2 were damaged the most and impacted the most. I think it makes sense to at least do Highlands and the Country Club and give it a try. And we still, if you're still, you know, because of your physical impairment or your age, you need to get off the golf cart path or you have a blue flag or what have you, you still have 3 other options. May not be the options that you wanted, may not be your number 1 option, but it's still a viable option that you can play during the winter time. But I really think come spring next year, we're gonna look at the course conditions on those 2 courses and we're gonna go, that's why we did it.
Yeah. Well, can I make a proposal then, that we maybe put together a survey of some sort that we can send to all the group leaders and say, would you petition your membership to ask them, would you be willing for a playability issue, as you're talking about, Tom? This isn't just to help our maintenance crew, this is to help us as golfers, so that here we are already mid-May and we still have a lot of, I mean, how many reports did we have where, well, grass is here? And we're in mid-May.
Every single year.
You know,
It's every year.
it's every year now. And so I think if we could put together a 2 or 3 word questionnaire and send it to every golf leader out there for all these golf groups and say, can you help us out? Can you help yourself out? I think you know, then we'll get better feedback on whether there's a viability for this, because I support it 100%.
And don't forget, it is May, and you know, before Graham it was Keith, and we heard about this every year. It's nice and beautiful out. The daytime temperatures are high. It's 70, it's 80, it's great, but the nighttime temperatures still aren't. You know, they're getting there, but they're not. You know, late April, early May, they're not there yet, and the grass reacts to the nighttime temperatures, not the daytime. So it's an ongoing education process, saying this is what you have to expect in May because of Mother Nature. And try and have a debate with Mother Nature, you're not going to win.
And I like what Tom said, nothing needs to be done now, but let's do the research now, because we'll start setting the calendar coming up in November for the summer. So Trevor will be on it and we're rolling. So let's all get input, let's do our due diligence with our golf groups. I like that idea. I can come up with something, get it out there next couple of weeks, and let's get input in and encourage our membership to come to these meetings.
Which months would we be talking about? From October, November, till?
Carts on path, probably November, January, February, March, and then depending on the growing season. That's what I would look.
Is it another
If you're gonna
type
do a
of
survey,
grass?
I'd do it now when the course conditions are not great,
Yes,
as opposed
next-
to during the middle of summer where the course conditions are great, and then
Yeah, no,
it's out of sight, out of mind, it's not relevant.
I think you need.
Is there another type of grass that we should be using?
All right. So
Way to tee them up, Dave.
So, over the years of this place, in the short time I've been here, I've learned that, you know, people have sodded many different varieties of Bermuda in. They've seeded Bermuda varieties in, and they all, you know, have different, you know, spring green up. You know, they all have different cold tolerances. They all grow different. They all look different. So that's another big problem out here, from my point of view, from what I'm seeing so far. Just the variety of grasses. To have let's say everything looked like the stuff that was still dormant out at the Highlands. If it all looked like that, you would think that, okay, it just hasn't greened up yet, right? And at some point it will. But the problem is we've got all these different patches of stuff going at different times, and it looks really bad. The zoysia grass that we have on the Highlands, which there's a lot of it out there, that was the first thing to green up. I noticed that about 3 weeks ago. You know, just traditionally, it has a superior cold tolerance. If you guys have played zoysia fairways, I would say it's got a superior playability as well. Our plan right now in the Highlands is actually to do a sprig trial to see if it's, you know, I think traditionally you would want to sod zoysia because of the length of time it takes to establish by sprig. But we've talked to a couple different guys that, you know, sod farm managers that are telling us that if we go at an extremely high sprig rate, we can get grown in between 10 and 12 weeks, which if you were to do that in early May, which would be, from what I can tell so far, the ideal time to plant, we could be open in first week or two of July, fully covered with a really good surface. If that were to be something that we would decide to do in the future, the reason you'd want a sprig versus sod would be from a cost standpoint. It would, for 20 acres of zoysia sod, it would probably be around $750,000 to sod it. We can sprig it for $250,000, so almost, you know, 3 times, you know, about a third of the cost. So that would be the reason we're going to do that. We're going to do a trial this summer on the Highlands to see if it works for us, and if it does, that can be something that we plan on doing at some point. But we need to make sure that is actually a process we can use here. The other thing is Blue Muta. You know, USGA just released an article over the weekend that, and I know I think you guys have talked about that in this group in the past. And I saw the article. There was a course in Tennessee around the same elevation we are, and I've reached out to a couple of superintendents since then that have tried it with varying opinions of it. It didn't work in Virginia, around, you know, in a climate similar to ours. And it was more like, I guess when I say it didn't work, meaning it didn't make it through summer, it didn't live through summer, so then they had to plant it again the following fall. And at that point, it's almost like you're overseeding. At that point, why aren't you just using ryegrass? It would be the thing. The Blue Muta thing is supposed to be you seed it once, and there's always a continuous surface of both of those grasses, and they thrive at different times, and you always have a nice surface. But so that's the question, and I still need to do some more research. That may be a thing to trial this year and see if it works here before we would, you know, decide to do that anywhere. But I'm certainly going to continue talking to people about that, because there might be an option here to do that. So that's kind of my winter stuff. Is there any questions on that, or any other comments?
I just applaud you for looking at options and, you know, helping us out. I really do. I think being proactive the way you are, I think that's terrific. Thanks.
And then as far as fixing the current stuff, we have some money budgeted for sod. We are going to be making the best use of that in the coming weeks, and we will be going from there, and hopefully we can get everything fixed up as soon as possible for all y'all. Continuing to push these other areas that are thin with fertilizer, aerification, that sort of thing, to try to get grown in as quickly as possible too. Capital project update today. Kyle, did Daryl finish that today? Okay, so we got our new booster pump installed. Everything's working good over there to provide extra pressure for his irrigation system. That was one of our capital projects this year, and the other one, at least I guess my part of it, is the actual construction piece of Tanyard Creek driving range tee and the floor. And that project is moving along nicely. Fleetwood has been doing as good as they can, avoiding the rain the last 10 days. We have about 30 more truckloads of topsoil to be delivered and spread, and there's a very small area that still needs to be spread in. Irrigation system was actually flushed today, and we're in the process of wiring all that up. We'll be doing our testing soon on that. The chipping and putting green have been excavated to shape. The drainage will be installed soon, and we'll have the sand and peat mixture installed in those and then sodded around. And we'll be ready to plant those greens with bent grass very soon. We're planning on sprigging the driving range floor within the next 3 weeks once the topsoil's spread and regraded for like finished graded, smoothed out. And we will be sodding the T-surrounds and green surrounds and T-tops within the next 4 to 5 weeks, I would say, weather depending. There's going to be some finish work to the slab and to the patio area that the contractor's going to have to come back in probably July, do some finish grade work, and then they'll sod the remaining piece of that once Kinko is ready for that to happen. So that's probably a July or August completion on that. And then the golf course updates. We ordered USGA GS3 balls for each golf course, and what that tool does is it measures green speed, green trueness, green smoothness, and also firmness. So we have the ability to do this daily, and we just got started with it last week. Beginning to get some data. We've had a couple issues with the actual equipment itself that we're waiting to get some things back, but using that regularly, I think that's going to help everyone, hopefully provide you guys consistent putting surfaces. So, or you talked about the early sod work. Well, we've laid 2 truckloads of sod already in April to address some winter kill we easily identified, but we have plenty more to do. And that's coming very soon. Just to try to mitigate some of the winter kill stuff, we've been aerifying and fertilizing weak areas on tees fairways. And we'll continue doing that. And then we will probably, for the larger scale sodding that we're looking at, we're probably going to bring in a contractor to help us complete those tasks, because there's going to be quite a bit of sod. So, any questions?
Just a question, and you may not be the one that can answer that, or Daryl, one of you. What type of hitting surface are we going to have on the range when we get through? We'll have mats, I assume, like we have. New mats?
Yes.
No. Well, why I'm asking, there are some mats out there that have spots for your tee.
Yes.
Is that something that we're going to look at? Because that'll save that right in front of the mat where people step out there to hit a driver.
Correct.
And
So
that's something
what people don't realize is at Highlands, you can tee up on the mat, and they don't. And that's the deal. So at Tanyard Creek, we will have a teeing area where your tees to keep them off, to stop that washout in front, and then we're putting Bermuda sod all the way down over. It's over an acre of actual top tee that you'll see that's happening.
Yeah, I know they make those with left hand and right hand on both sides, so that works.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay.
Anything else for Graham? Thank you, Graham. If not, we'll move to Daryl.
All right, I'm going to make it real quick. Due to the cold weather in April, if we look at the cold nights, we actually lost a little bit of ground. We missed our budget in rounds by 2,106. But year to date, you guys can all look at that, but year to date, we had 49,646, which we still up 7,200 over last year. So we had a great March, bad April. We start out this May a little wet, so we'll see where it goes. What I'm seeing is the tick in the member rounds are all up. Guest rounds are staying consistent, but member rounds are jumping up, which is great to see. So that's the way that played a big part in it. Range buckets are down, obviously. We got Tanya Creek down, but Alex and his staff are doing a good job out there and rocking and rolling. That's a great practice facility out there, so it's super busy. So that's a round report. We're going to jump into Kingswood real quick, the Pro Shop. So I'll give you an update. They are doing the final touches on the inside of the Pro Shop and the counters. It's looking awesome. It really is a great look, great layout. It's phenomenal. We have ordered all the fixtures for inside, and our new logo is ready to roll. The merchandise has been ordered, and we're going to probably open it online only so you can get your new logo early. Miss Leslie will let everybody know about that. I just wanted to throw that out there, so we're excited about that. Tanya Creek, as Graham said, the outside's looking real good, and so everybody knows I was up super early this morning. I'm going to tell you how early, but they poured the slab on the building. So we got the slab before the rain came in, and I guarantee when they left there at 10 o'clock today, they're like, man, we could have slept in because it still isn't raining. But we got it all done. It's looking really good out there. And it was funny, early this morning, the sun was coming up, and I turned around, and a member walked out, and he's sitting with coffee, and he gives me his coffee cup and goes, hey. So I go up and I visit with him a little bit, and they are loving watching what's going on. They said there's like ants out there when they're working, and now they saw this big old crane coming in, dropping all the concrete, making it. So we got spectators, and they're loving it from the house. So it's kind of exciting. We've got an interior designer, and we're finishing up the final stuff on the actual building. So now you're going to start seeing it going up once that cement is cured and meets all the grade. So it's exciting. That's what we got in golf operations on my side. Any questions?
Any questions for Darryl?
Awesome.
If not, let's move to Alex.
All right, lots of events going on in Bella Vista this time of year. So we just had our Folds of Honor event this past Saturday, 28 teams at Highlands, and everything went very, very well. We had the Bentonville Schools NJROTC group out there presenting colors and singing the national anthem. It was something to see, so that was a great event. This Friday, we've got the rescheduled Shot in the Dark. 18 teams ready to go. Looks like the weather is going to cooperate for us, thank goodness, because we'd get a little bit later start whenever we go a little further into the summer. It'll already be pushing 9 o'clock, so be a late night for those of us out there. Some things currently open for registration. The Greenskeepers Revenge Tournament is back out at Dogwood. That is on Friday the 24th of this month and Saturday the 25th. It's a 2 o'clock shotgun if you wanted to play on Friday, or it's tee times on Saturday morning. We encourage anyone that wants to play to go ahead and get in there. There's still plenty of spots available. The Greens team over there at Dogwood does a great job in making the course interesting yet playable. So plenty of room left in that one. We've got the couples mixer coming up also at Dogwood May 31st through June the 2nd. Men's 4-ball is at Scottsdale June the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then we got a lot of teaching programs going on. We've got Operation 36 spring sessions that are currently going on and wrapping up. We've got some summer sessions starting in June for ladies and juniors. And all of those teaching programs have been good participation, if not full. So we're really happy with all that, how that's been going. Junior golf camp registration is also opened up. That's June 12th through the 15th. And the second week is July 17th through the 20th. So both of those sessions are open for registration right now on the POA webpage. Couple other things that we've added. There is a new chip and sip program that is from Hannah and Megan. That starts today, actually. They're trying to get it in. Hopefully the weather will participate with them. And the men's golf and gulp is also today. That one's at Highlands from Ryan Summers and Tom Labrine, our two part-time teaching professionals. So lots of teaching programs going on, some things for beginners and some things that are social. So there's plenty of opportunities to get in and see some pros. Any questions on any events we got? All right, you guys, thanks.
Thank you, Alex. Tom? You're up.
Just a quick report, just a reminder to all our members to make sure they vote for the board election. We are just under 2 weeks away from that concluding. As of just a little bit ago, we were at 21.9%. Last year, I think we ended at 23, 24. So we're on track to pass that, which is outstanding. We'd like to be at 50%. If anybody has not voted, please encourage them to do so. Go on our website, research, make an informed decision, but vote.
Kyle? David? Hi. Okay.
If you guys don't mind my throwing in my 2 cents. We were talking about keeping carts off the path sometime during the winter. There is one golf course around here that does that every year. At the Lost Springs Golf Club. They're on the path from 1st of November to 1st of May, every year. The members bitch and moan and groan about it, but the fairways stay pretty good. I don't know that it has that much effect on winter kill, but their growing conditions are better. I know I should be doing this, but I think it's a pretty good idea to try it on a couple of golf courses. Our members are gonna bitch, it doesn't matter what we do, right? So let's go ahead and do it, give it a try, and see what happens. If we can improve our playing conditions over a 1, 2, 3 year period, why not do it? And, then maybe we can throw some other things in there, like reseeding or sprigging some of these places. I think that's a good idea. I don't like it. I like to be off the path as much as anybody else. But I think it's a good program.
Can I ask you to identify yourself?
Oh, David Welch, 6th Player Lane, Bella Vista, 00133-156.
That's close enough, thank you.
What else?
I appreciate it.
You guys all know.
Well, just for those who might not know you, who might not know you otherwise,
Can
thank
we
you.
get your credit card and your social security number?
Moving right along. Committee terms for new business, old business, I guess. It's time to talk about that and to move forward with that. Mark has ended his 2nd term, so he's been here 6 years and done a whole lot for us. And so his term has ended. So the policy is after 2 terms, you sit out a year. If you want to come back after that, you're welcome to. But other than that, you sit out. So we appreciate everything you've done. Well, that'll come up in a couple of months, so.
Make an exception.
Yeah. The next item is Gary Mertz. His term was incorrect on the 1st term. He's actually got 1 more year. His term ends in 2025. So if you'll change that on the webpage. So he has his 2nd term. We thought it was up, but he only had 2 years the first time, so he is not up. To decide how many new people we need, my term is up this year, but I have an option to go for another year. I would do so if I can get a nomination or recommendation from the
I
floor.
nominate Ruth to go.
Everybody talk at once, relax.
You know at weddings where they ask if anybody has an
objection.
objection, please now speak.
Now's your turn.
Or,
No
Now's your
objection.
okay.
Do we have a second? Okay. All those in favor of retaining for another 3 years? I have 2 votes, but I'm going to abstain. So will you move to the board that I will be running again or for another 3? And we need 1 new member, so we'll ask for resumes to be put in so that we can elect a new member for the committee. And that will be, when we have the end of, well, we'll have to.
You're doing great.
Okay.
Just
Move it then.
we'll post it to
Okay.
the website. But if anybody knows anybody that's interested in joining and they love doing minutes, please please get a hold of them and have them volunteer.
Yeah. As we said, there are 2 ways to do it, the military way or your volunteer, so. Okay, anything else on that line? So we understand we need 1 new committee member. Okay, announcements, other than Superintendent's Revenge and all the other tournaments you talked about. Golf for Charity is May 22nd, and we encourage everybody to golf that day, and we do need volunteers to help with Sakatumi. And if you're available and can help or know anybody that can, please get in touch with me and we'll find a place for you.
Just a reminder, that is not a tournament, it is a play day.
Event.
It's an event, you're just encouraging everybody to play regardless of their skill level. And all green fees for all of the golf courses are donated to Bella Vista Charities. In addition to the Sakatumi and the wine pole and silent, all that. All of it goes to Bella Vista Charities. So, but it's not a tournament, you're not in competition. This is just come on out and play, have a good time, even if it's in the afternoon. Because every dollar that's spent goes towards local charities.
Okay, and they're all local. Okay, anything else for the good of the cause?
I have one suggestion. I've been hearing from several homeowners that live on golf courses here in Bella Vista. And it seems like over the last 2 years, there's been a ramp up in the number of homes that have been hit, especially in the afternoons and weekends. And so I don't know what we can do about it. I mean, you buy a golf front home, it's kind of a risk that you take because of the beauty that you have. But I wonder if we could at least make a suggestion. If you know you can't break 95 or 100, please avoid the back tees. You probably don't belong back there. And I think you will enjoy the game more if you play it forward. And I know that with some people, there's an ego involved in that, but trust me, you'll have more fun and you'll do less damage to some of the homes in the area. So I just ask for cooperation of people that are either members or non-members. If you know you can't break 95 or 100, don't play from the black tees or maybe even the blue tees, but move up to the yellows or the whites.
Okay. Anything else? If not, the next regular meeting is Wednesday, June 12th at 4 o'clock here in the boardroom. We stand adjourned.